I always feel Fridays are better, but good morning, everybody. I'm Ray. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just somebody that can help get into that little voice inside your head and nudge you to be a little bit better. If you're open to journaling, self reflection, living intentionally, and trying to find out where um, you can be, take your time. We are here for you, Alicia. And today's going to be a really good day. Um, and today's going to be a good day because we're going to decide that it's going to be a good day. And we're right here on week 11th and 12 of living an intentional life. That's where we're going to plan things on purpose in our life to happen. Good morning, Queen. I hope you're doing good this morning. It's good to see you in here. We're glad you're in here. So we're going to be on week 11 talking about reflection with our self-awareness. And reflection, when you think about reflection, it's just kind of like when we look into the mirror, we see the details, right? So when we reflect through writing and through journaling, we're actually mapping what we see in our head in front of us so we can reflect on that. And what you're going to find when you reflect on yourself is a kaleidoscope of warmth, love, and life. Very vibrant, not just to find out who you are, but it's going to help you understand who you can become through intentional living, who you can become. And when you wake up from autopilot and you wake up from just things that you're accepting in your life, that you feel this is just life because this how it goes, and you got awareness to there, these kaleidoscopes of colors that I'm talking about through journaling and reflecting, they have warmth where you can smile upon yourself. It'll keep you from listening to the little critic in your head who has no facts about you, the self-doubt, and help you explore a lot of fears that are unexpressed, that are hidden in our lives, that sometimes hold us back and chain us to a reality that doesn't exist, that we're not good enough, that we can't do this, that this isn't possible in my life. When we've been talking about this series, and we did an introduction to it 11 weeks ago, every Tuesday and Friday morning, we talked about living intentionally instead of the autopilot that goes into our life. And if you want to live a good life, you're going to need some tools. Week 11 is about some of the tools. And since Tuesday, which I thought was a very good live, I did some reflecting because I end up watching my own live afterward, and I jot down some notes about it. And what I think that what I've come up with personally, and hopefully this helps other people out, is 6 things that are going to help us stay self-aware, have clarity, be mindful, to have improvement in our life. It's all going to take setting the time and asking questions. Your journal, your thoughts, these all lead into actions in our life. And some of the actions could be things that we want or that we desire in our life. And even if they seem out of reach, they're not. As a matter of fact, to the contrary, they're quite attainable in small increments. When you break down your goals, break down how you want to live in an achievable manner by breaking it down into steps through journaling, you're going to find more wins, a better sense of achievement by staying mindful and present. When you're mindful and present in your life, you are experiencing life. Life's not happening to you. When life's happening to you, you're like a bag of reactions. You have to reach down and grab a reaction and live by it. And you get triggered by other people, but really it all comes from within. So think about that. So the first tool we're going to need is to be mindful. Being mindful is being right here in the moment. It's enjoying your cup of coffee. It's enjoying time with your child, your pet. When life is happening, when you are mindful and you're living life it's tied into gratitude. And sometimes what we want and what we are lacking goes away, especially the lacking part, because when you're living mindful, you're living in abundance because you're grateful. When you have gratitude in your life, you're concentrating on the abundance of what's going right today. Not, oh, I got to do this today. What do you look forward to today? When you get home at night, it's not about what. It is such a big, it is. It's a cliche, but it's so true. And this is what we talk about in journaling, which we talk about when we're being mindful. When you come home, it's not what went wrong or I'm glad at home. What went right today? What went right today? Where were my wins today? And when you're doing that, you're staying in the present, when you're thinking about it in the present. But when we start reflecting, when we're reflecting and we set aside time to reflect, we start to understand our values and our emotions. And like I said, it's a kaleidoscope of color when you look at it. So the reflection mirror is different than the mirror we look at when we get ready in the morning to make sure everything's in place, that we look fine. But when we're reflecting, that our reflection is of our thoughts, our unexpressed fears. We're asking ourselves questions through reflection. And you will notice a difference when you take time to reflect, a really big difference in your life. And other people will too. So one of our tools this morning we're talking about is being mindful. Being mindful, doing your reflection is going to give clarity and it's going to give you understanding as far as living a life on purpose. Purposely, what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen? And visualize your goals and your dreams. When you visualize where you want to be in life and you visualize goals and you visualize dreams and you create a path and a plan and you journal along with that, keeping it in your life every day, setting aside the time to do that, they start to come to light a little bit more when you visualize them. And not just come to light, but when you constantly visualize how you want your life to be, how you want to be, it creates a path of clarity. You have clarity. And because of the reflection that you're doing to find out who you are, that it leads to something, because it doesn't just tell you who you are when you reflect. When you journal, it doesn't tell you who you are. This is how I react. It allows you to express who you can become. And we all have what we want to become. But it's hard sometimes to feel the nudge when it happens, to see the signs in life that it's time to change. We've overcome this. Sometimes we're very complacent with things in our life that we just assume are always going to be there, and we tolerate them unintentionally. But however, we have intentionally allowed them to stay there, recognizing what's anchoring us, recognizing what's holding us back. That has to do with not having boundaries, people pleasing, living life for others, or living because of what other people may feel. When you're living an authentic life and you're being yourself on purpose, it's not to make friends. It's to guide yourself and to guide who you can become, to bring you into where you want to be. So visualizing our goals, having the gratitude, being mindful in life. And these things bring a big tool. They bring a big tool in your mind because they combat negative thought. When you're questioning the negative thought, when you're questioning the little voice in your head that says you can't do that. When you remind yourself that you've had wins and you question the negative thought, it replaces it with better thoughts of gratitude. See, all these things just fill back into one another. And it sounds easy, but it's hard. And not doing it is hard. So we choose our hard in here. We choose it. When you're reminding yourself of your own successes with positive affirmations, it replaces negative thought. It replaces self-esteem. And in the areas of self-esteem where we have unexplored, unattended to fears that we don't know that we have, or understand why we might be afraid to maybe get a new job, or why we might be afraid to finance something, or why we might be afraid of something. And part of it is a fear is we may not feel deserving of it. Well, we deserve anything that we can make happen in our life. And when you move forward intentionally in life and you put effort into it, guess what? The universe is going to meet you halfway, because you're going to stay present, you're going to stay mindful, and you're going to do what it takes. There's hurdles, but it's how you look at them. It's your perspective in life. There's two ways to look at everything: in the light or in the dark. And when you're journaling, you're looking at things in the light for what they really are. So when we journal and we reflect, we're looking at who we are and what we can become. We're researching for the clarity about ourselves. We're going to find out the good and the bad. And the bad, we wouldn't know if it was even there unless it was good, unless we're even searching. That's a whole nother course, that because sometimes to get rid of the bad, it takes away sometimes the objectives. We have to objectively live our life intentionally and collectively. And that's how we fulfill our potential. That's how we do things. Good morning, Kelly. I hope you're having a good day. I'm so glad that you're here. Goal setting and breaking down your goals into steps that are manageable and achievable give you a sense of accomplishment. A sense of accomplishment, even changing one little thing. You know, I like when you say that. Thank you so much, Kelly. I'm glad you're in here. I need to come visit you, and we need to chat some. So we're talking about the kaleidoscope that we can find when we're reflecting, when we're being mindful, when we're goal setting. It all fits right in. It all fits right into the life that we want to live, but it's the work that we're going to take. Most importantly, and right behind me, setting the time to ask the questions, journaling your thoughts and actions, self-reflecting. It's going to give us awareness, clarity, make us mindful. Being mindful, when you're living life and you're enjoying your life and you're mindful, you can find yourself at a picnic in a park, at a parade, anywhere that you might be. Indulge into life. What do you like about that moment? Think about it. Don't ruin it with that little critic in our head. And I think I told everybody last week, if we could somehow pull the critic out of our head and put this little sucker on a stand and question him. He has no facts. Something that we believe because of things that we heard, little bits of trauma that might have been in our life, maybe one comment from some person who's full of cockadoodle bullshit, some item that happened to us, an old boss, something that we did, a place that we didn't fit in. There's all these things, but that's not now. This isn't about going back to fixing that. This isn't about fixing anything that happened to you. This is fixing right now. So where do we start? If you like what I talk about, where do we start? Well, we start right here. We start at the moment that we have a thought that I think things could be better. I have some things in my life that burden me. I'm becoming complacent with them, and I need to find a route out of this. I need to make a boundary. I feel that I live my evenings for somebody else. I feel I live my day for somebody else. I'm so good at my job now that I do everyone else's work. I work so hard at work, but work's not your life. That's what you do. Your life is somehow where you can tie your work and your life together to be an authentic person. And when you reflect, you can smile at yourself. You can examine the fears that you don't understand. We all have hidden fears, things that trigger us, things that make us feel that, this is just how it is. It's not. Because you get a new day every day to get another shot. And as a matter of fact, you don't even have to wait for a new day. You can start right now. You can start at a bad moment. You can start when you are rock bottom. You can start when you think you're going to hit rock bottom. And it's a thought away. Happiness, changing your life's a thought away. Time to reflect, shut off the noise. the background noise, especially in our head. When you're writing things down about being gratitude, about being grateful for it, you're writing things down and staying on that. This isn't going to make you a uh, optimistic, delusional person. It's not. It's really not. And a lot of people think this is cockadoodle bullshit. But journaling and writing things down and mapping things is how we got where we are today. Every piece of technology, us going to the moon, us going across the sea, everything has been journaled, written down, and planned. You don't just go on a trip tomorrow without planning it, how you're going to get there, what you're going to wear, what your budget is. So we can collectively go about reflection this way. What am I dealing with? Where do I lack the confidence, and where did that come from, and how can I fix it? Because first of all, you have no reason not to be confident about anything that you want to do. You can just right now erase that out of your head and replace that negative thought. Reflection allows you to understand your values, experiences, and your emotions and guide you toward a more authentic life. By reflecting, finding deep down of what makes you feel that way, ignoring the outside noise, and turning all your questions about life of why did they do that? Why did this happen? Why did I react that way? Why does it make me feel that way? You're the reactor. You're carrying the bag of reaction. But sometimes, and we've talked about this, we can let it ride with us. It can't take the wheel. We don't want to be a bag of reaction. We want to be a bag of reasoning. You know, in my life, years ago, and when I got into journaling personally, I had some anger issues. And I think that it wasn't anger as in I was a terror, but I definitely lived by my emotions. If something made me upset, people are going to know. If something made me, people are going to know. And that's just me. Well, it wasn't just me. It was what I thought about myself and some of the experiences that happened, and how I chose to, instead of reasoning and understanding things, I chose to just blow up. And once in a while I still do in traffic, but that's okay because I'm in my car. It's different. I always wonder sometimes, like in traffic, you know, if somebody cuts you off and you're safe in your car, you flip them off, send them the bird or whatever. Would you do that at the grocery store? If you bumped into their grocery cart in line? No, we wouldn't. In our car, we feel protected and nobody knows what we're feeling. So sometimes imagine that you're at the grocery store when you're driving. People are trying to pick up people. Everybody has their agenda too. And that way, a reasoning can be brought into your life instead of emotions, instead of allowing our anger or one little thing that somebody does unintentionally to you. Most of the time, there's people that I know I've been mad at that had no idea. And all that it does is it keeps us locked in to understanding a fear that we had. Good morning, Ember. Thanks for you're in here, man. Hope you're having a good day. I see you there. I appreciate you being in here. So what's going on right now? We're doing our reflection. What we're doing is we're sketching our thoughts. We are sketching our thoughts out on paper to read them, sketching out thoughts, sketching out when I reflected about this show. Here it is from last Tuesday. I just sketched it out. These are my notes after watching last Tuesday. And I use that as a guide. And when we're sketching our thoughts out about ourselves, of what to change, I shouldn't maybe hang out with this particular group. I'm over this. We get to a point in our life as we get older where we've just had enough. Things run their course. And not being authentic to yourself and being a people pleaser your whole life will run its course. Thank you so much. And when it runs its course and you're fed up, then you got to figure out how to get out of this shit. And what you're going to do is you're going to introduce yourself to waking up from autopilot. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate you. You're going to wake up from autopilot. That's where all the things that are happening in your life that were unplanned, all the things that you just think just happened because that's how life is, can be more controllable. and manageable. Yeah. Everything in your life is manageable right here, right inside of your head. So we're going to have our quick review today. We're going to talk about weeks 1 through 10 briefly. For those that are in here that don't know and those that are in here that know, because living an intentional life and rewarding yourself with the benefits of warmth and a kaleidoscope from your own self-reflection, to not understand who you are, but to understand what you can become, what your potential is. This is a reward. And it's not a final day. It's not a final destination. But let me tell you something. It can be. It can be a daily practice. It can be a practice. But the thing is, it's not perfect, because sometimes anger will win. Sometimes doubts will win. But that will happen less often. When we take control of our life and through living intentionally, the less of what we don't like is going to happen. If you have a lot of things happening in your life that you don't like, then you need to start being more available for yourself and your thought, reflecting. Write them down. Write them all down. Write it down. So week 1, this is what we're talking about. We're going to take us right to here and finish up here after a long while with what week 11's about. Week 1, we introduced this course was waking up from autopilot. What does it mean to live intentionally? It's to understand the difference between living by default and living by design. This is where we design our lives. I'm tired of this. This has run its course, and I want to start designing my life. I could be in a dead-end job. I could want to do something different. I don't know if you need friends, or maybe you don't have friends, but sometimes we have people in our lives that we think pull us down, but it's our perception. So we're going to self-reflect. We're going to get out of default, where that's just how it is. That's how it is. This is what I deal with. Good morning, boy. Hope you're having a good day. Week 2, we went into identity and self-awareness of who are you really. You can't live intentionally if you don't know who you are. You can't do a lot of this without self-reflection, without journaling, without understanding some unexpressed fears, some unexpressed emotions that we have about ourselves, that we haven't expressed, that we haven't dealt with, that we haven't understand. Because sometimes we carry things with us from childhood. There's all kinds of trauma. When we talk about trauma, it's not something big happened to you when you were little, that you had a weird uncle or there's some kind of big trauma happened to you. There's small trauma too. That can happen on the playground. That can be something said by a parent, something said by a teacher, a principal, something said as you're an adult by a boss that just really hurt you, that just really made you doubt yourself. You can't let people do that, because self-doubt from other people are people who themselves have problems. The source of all of your negativity in your life comes from negativity. Think about that. So if somebody's told you you can't do it, you're not good enough, that's coming from negativity. That's negative talk. That's a negative person. You should forward them to this live on Tuesdays and Fridays so we can help them. So you can't live intentionally if you don't know yourself. So you had to build honest self-awareness, and that was what week 2 was about. Week 3, we talked about core values. What matters to you? Intentional living is built on clear values. It's built on clarity of what your values are. Honesty, hard work, being authentic, giving good answers, thinking before we speak, giving ourselves time to answer, watching what we volunteer for, but at the same time being kind, first to ourselves. I had a little clip that a lot of people fell for. I fell for it myself once. 3 people that you can think of right now that you'll do anything for. Anything. And you think of those 3 people. And if you're not one of them, then you're not present in your life. Right? Because when we give ourselves the care that we deserve, and the love that we deserve, and the kindness that we deserve, to understand that This reflection and self-awareness isn't perfect because none of us are. It's not a destination, but it's a daily practice that we want to do. And you start filling yourself with the good love and the kindness, it does overflow. People notice that. People notice that and they respect that. You'll still have your haters out there. They'll be there, which they're just on the side. We don't pay attention to that. So when you're thinking about core values and you're understanding core values and you're keeping the clarity in your life on a daily basis through journaling and gratitude journaling, now your values are now going to be connected to every daily decision, to every decision that you make about this Friday, this Saturday, this Sunday, this Easter, of who you want to be with, who you want to talk to, what you want to talk about, and boundaries. So that was week 3. And week 4, we went on to our purpose and vision, which is kind of cool because that's where you are going. Where are you are going? And nothing beats reflection as the number one tool of where you're going, because reflection helps us see. It's drawing the map. It's sketching out your thoughts of how you feel about so you can reflect on it. And you set aside time to do that daily. Through self-reflection, it's everything. It's your goals, how you feel about something, how you feel about somebody. And it also can help you find where you might need boundaries in your life, where you feel uncomfortable when you go to a different place because politics are always brought up, or you feel uncomfortable when you deal with this because something comes up that we don't understand, or that makes us feel, out of place. Understanding what makes us feel out of place is the first step to not being in those situations. Not being. So where are you going? When you're giving your life direction by reflecting, and you reflect, there will be a kaleidoscope of warmth. You can smile and, wow, I got this. This is what happens. This is what triggers me. It's me the whole time. It's not the people around me. It wasn't my wife. It wasn't my girlfriend, my boyfriend. But here's the thing. We are living sometimes by default where we're just reacting to life. Let's live life. Let's be authentic. So when we're talking about purpose and vision, it's giving our life a direction, and and having a personal sense of life purpose. And purpose, you want to know what's a goal, what's a fantasy? Purpose and dreams, what you're available to do, because nobody on earth, in my opinion, knows their full potential. And a lot of us aren't using our full potential because we don't know what it is, because we have unexpressed fears that keep us from stepping out to do something different. So that was week 4, but crafting your personal mission, turning your vision into a clear statement that you can live by. Help write a simple, usable mission statement. I want to be here within 3 months. I would like to learn English, which I just read. I would like to learn a second language. I would like to read a whole book. I would like to have more time to myself where I don't feel overwhelmed. Wait a minute. You said that you feel overwhelmed. We're feeling overwhelmed because, I want to talk about what it's like about feeling overwhelmed in life, because in life, when you feel overwhelmed, it's because you really haven't written a list of what you're dealing with. You write down what it is that you think that you've got to do, that you have to do, and you write that down and you look at it. It's no longer a mountain, because when we write things down in life, that's the first step to managing them. That's the first step to managing your life. Now you're living intentionally instead of just reacting when this comes, when this bill shows up, when that shows up. When you intentionally write things down and plan, when you wake up, what do you have to look forward to? When you go to bed, what went right in the day? During the day, understand your vision and a clear statement to yourself where you have clarity and mindfulness. Mindful, live right here, right now. Live here now. So write a usable mission statement in your life, and you're constantly going to adjust that as you live. You're going to be put into situations. What situations don't go well for you, and how can you handle them differently next time? That's reflection. And when we reflect, and I do like using this term, it's a kaleidoscope of colors and things like that, because we've now sketched everything that's in our mind on paper so we can read it. So we can read and understand ourselves, not to find out who we are, but what our potentials are. What's your potential in life? You'll understand that you have power. And as humans, we're not afraid. And sometimes if there's something we really want to do, we take the pain. Think back when you were a kid, when you fell off that bike, when you had to have training wheels. But man, once you got that down, that sense of freedom, the sense of freedom that you're going somewhere and you're in control of the direction of that bike, all the way down the street to where you've never been. That's what it's like when you reflect in life. And that's what it's like when you challenge your own potential. That's what it's like. And you're going to fall. You're going to fail. And living intentionally isn't a destination, a final destination. To the contrary, it's just a daily practice. And other things will still, procrastination, waiting till the last moment to get things done. How do I deal with procrastination? Well, procrastination sometimes can be a good thing. And I'll explain that really quick because I saw that. Sometimes I don't read the comments, I know. Procrastination sometimes is a natural good thing in your life when you're overwhelmed and you've had enough. Procrastination comes in. I don't feel like doing this because I'm overwhelmed. But sometimes procrastination is just a fear, sometimes of being told what to do, understanding yourself and aware it. As a matter of fact, we're going to get right into that because one of our weeks right here, 11 of 12, one of the weeks was about procrastination. And you can hit my link tree on my profile. It'll take you into YouTube and you can actually go to that whole episode. And if procrastination's a problem. Procrastination's a problem for me sometimes too. I wait for the last minute for things. And a lot of times we get confused of prioritizing things, putting things above others, and we think it's a form of procrastination. But if you find yourself procrastinating a lot towards affecting your life, your job, your values, and your friends, then you might want to do some research in it or watch that episode. So going back to week 5, we were crafting our personal mission statement and turning our visions into a clear, understanding course, a map that we write out for our lives. Week 6 was about intentional goals from purpose to practice, setting aligned, meaningful goals, not random solutions. Do you hear that? Not random solutions, not band-aids, not quick fixes, actually finding the cause of the problem. Instead of putting a band-aid fix on something, find out what you can do to not make it happen again. And if you can't, find out why you can't. Explore. You can ask questions to yourself all the time. It just takes setting the time, asking the questions, journaling your thoughts and actions, self-awareness, mindfulness, journaling. And people love to, I have comments from people that love to give me heck about that. Like, man, you got a diary? Is that a diary? Not understanding that journaling is part of self-reflection. Writing your thoughts down stops the race in your head so you can have rest. So I know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know that I'm going to plan on trying to live authentic. And I also know that self-doubt's going to come into some places. I'm going to have some hiccups. I'm going to have things not go right at work. I'm going to have things not go right in my life. I'm going to have things happen, right? Think of a new car, the enjoyment that you have in it. That doesn't mean that car will never have problems. You keep using it. You're going to need a transmission, tires, you got to upkeep. Maintenance, self-reflecting and journaling is your maintenance. It's your upkeep. It's the mechanical part of you. And to do the mechanics in your life, you're going to need 6 tools. Those 6 tools are being mindful, gratitude journaling, visualizing your goals and your dreams, combating negative self-talk, questioning negative self-talk, and understand the course of negative talk toward you comes from a negative source, which doesn't make you negative. Reflection and goal setting. That might be 7, but that's many of the tools that we can have in our drawer upstairs. When we were talking about organizing, a drawer where there's a mess, you flip it upside down, you throw away what's not useful. And let me tell you something that's not useful is living default. It's letting life happen to you instead of you living your life. It's not what you have to do today. What do you want to do? Think of that. Think of what do you want to do? What do you want to be doing a year from now, next month? What do you want to do this summer? What do you want to have the time for? What do you want to indulge your mind and your presence into? So all that has to flow from purpose to understand that. You have to reflect to know what it is. Week 7, we talked about time, energy, attention. Taking control of your day, and your life is built on days. That's what you're going to carry into tomorrow. That's what you're going to carry into next week. We're not going to think about it. We're not there yet. But what we're doing now is planning us. So if you're on a journey to go north, you're going to be going north today. And if it's going to take you 3 months to get there, you're going to go north. But once in a while, there's going to be a storm. And you might have to go a little bit of east. You're going to navigate your life. You're going to watch out for what is to come. So it's built on your days. And your calendar reflects your life. What's on your calendar? Show me your calendar and I will show you your life. You ever heard about that? There's truth behind that. And you got to ignore time wasters, digital time wasting, energy suckers, people that need favors. Don't be available. If you're a people pleaser, put a time limit on helping them. Hey, Ray, I need to borrow a truck to move. I don't have one. Hey, can you help me this Saturday? Yes, I can for 10 minutes. I'm busy. You don't have to give excuse. No, period, is the best sentence ever written in the human language of English. So watch out for time wasters, distractions, and digital, because that's all anti-intentional. When you're listening to noise, when you're listening to divisive rhetoric of the news, rhetoric from other people, gossip, when you're filling your mind with a lot of untruths that aren't going to feed you, to take you to your goal so you can live intentionally. When you're paying attention to other things instead of yourself, being mindful. We all like a good story. We all like a good time. So keep yourself present. Keep yourself present. Energy management isn't just time. And when we were on week 7, time, energy, and attention, it's about your sleep, your food, your movement, what you're doing, what you're feeding yourself, what you're doing for health and exercise and long term, and what little cheats and rewards you're going to give yourself for that. I just have to say that because I have a sugar and a cigarette problem. Week 8's about habits, systems, and routines. So making an intentional life your routine, right? Making self-awareness, clarity, being mindful a routine. All of those things. When we were on this board last week, a routine of identifying triggers, analyzing your fear of failure, of where you're afraid to fail, practicing self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. This isn't a review of your life and a reflection. This is a confession. This is accepting what's happening in your mind without having to go back and fixing it. It's being in the present and enjoying now and understanding when you need to turn the wheel really quick, what to avoid, who to not be around. Having tools in life that I talked about is like knowing that it's going to rain and bringing an umbrella with you. Just because the sky's blue doesn't mean it might not rain. Weather comes in and weather goes away, and we're aware of that in our life. As a matter of fact, we've all been through storms, but they don't stay. Eventually, the sun comes out. So your objective is to help translate goals into daily, weekly habits, show the systems. This is stronger than willpower. This isn't a freaking motivational speech. It's not willpower. What it is you taking the time every day to journal. Set aside time to reflect. Set aside time that you know what? Half of my life is unintended, accidental, involuntary, unplanned, unexpected, unforeseen. I've got no time for myself. Everything, it's just, I'm unaware. Flipping the script. We're going to be intentional, deliberate, calculated, conscious, on purpose, intended, pre-planned, available for yourself. Shut down the people that tell you can't do it, especially the critic in your head. Shut them down. Whack him out of there. He has no facts about you. He doesn't know yourself. You're going to start reflecting and realizing that you have a purpose, that you are in control. And once you need to start right here. If your life was like this, and where do I start? Is it next week? What do I need to do? Nothing. What you need to do is make a daily habit of reflecting, journaling. Find a kaleidoscope of light and warmth that's within you through self-reflection. That is sketching your mind and your thoughts. Man, the racing in your mind will stop. Your sleep will help. You'll be able to do so many things. Now, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist, but let me tell you, I do this. I do writing. I run a construction company. I manage crews. I do a lot of stuff with time and energy. How I do it? I just manage it and I plan it. It's called planning. And when I write down the week, I do that self-aware with clarity. And when I manage the people I manage, I write it out like a book. So translate your daily habits. Translate them. Are they good for you or are they bad for you? What systems and routines are going to make an intentional life be your automatic life? Where you're making the things happen. And week 9 we went into, guess what? When you figure all this out, this is my favorite part. One of my favorite, ask the same questions. Well, what about boundaries and people and environments? Yes. Nothing sucks out the energy worse than people and environments. Protecting your purpose from distractors and pressure and energy leakers. You need to discover to set healthy boundaries in your life because there's people that are going to want to suck your energy. Once they see you're good, the first thing they want you to do is fall forward and chip your front tooth. And that's not good, right? They're out there. That's where we protect ourselves, where boundaries. Where could boundaries play in your life during your unintentional life? When you were living unintentionally on autopilot, being ran over by your kids, your spouse, your boss, the people at the grocery store, everybody in traffic even cuts you off. You just feel like, wow, what am I? Why does this happen? Why have I set back? Because somewhere in life, one of those big T's, little T's, tiny T's, there's a talk that I was listening to not long ago about micro trauma. Where micro trauma, where things and little things that set us, ways that we fail, and then we made it an habitual mindset in ourselves that we can't do this, that we can never lose the weight, that we can never ride a bike, that we'll never exercise every day. We're just thinking about it, right? But the people that are thinking about that, not doing it, are also the people that aren't reflecting. They're not journaling. They're not planning their thoughts. They're not taking control of their mind. They're not unleashing themselves to the power that they have inside. Because when you're reflecting, it's not about just who you are, but what you can become, what your limits are. And believe me, you have none. You have zero limits. So we talked about helping you set healthy environments, recognizing how people and environments affect intentional living. Affect intentional living. That's what we find out. People and environments, especially people. Everyone's on their own journey. Don't worry about them. Worry about you. If somebody likes to take your time, make yourself unavailable. If somebody talks too much, you got to use the bathroom. Somebody walks into your office too much, shut the door and put a sign up. Need 3 hours doing research. I'm under a lot of stress and every little thing is bothering me. If you write down what's bothering you and you look at that, you're going to realize it's not that much. You're just trying to control too many things at once in your head. And that is mindset, fear, and resistance. That's week 10. That's where dealing with the inner battles that stop your intentional living. So when you're stressed out, you feel stressed out. Now life's got a hold of you. You're a bag of reactions. But if you're dealing with inner battles that stop intentional living, address that fear, um, address that. You're welcome, Amanda. Amanda, if you click on the link tree on it'll take you to these episodes. They're all free. There's all kinds of things. And, when you have, I want to stop for a moment, Amanda. Sometimes we have a little critic in our head that tells you all kinds of things, and they have no facts. You are the true you. You're a good person, and you deserve to live life. Don't let life live you. Take control of it, and you can start right now. You can write down what these problems are and make a plan to get out of them. And there's all kinds of resources and help. But you want to know what? 90% of the time, you can just set aside the time, journal some thoughts, and have action, and find out where those problems are coming from and what direction, and deal with your inner battles. And when you're addressing your self-doubt and not procrastinating and having the same stress over and over, I want you to think about your successes. I want you to think about what's going right today, not about what's going wrong. Everybody has stuff that we have to do. So week 10 was about our mindset, fear, and resistance, which brings us, boom, right here, week 11. Week 11 is about reviewing and reflecting everything that I just talked about. About intentional living is not perfect. It's about constant realignment. There you go. Constant realignment, checking in. When you get oil in your car every 3 months, 5 months, every 5,000 miles. And if you go to your mechanic, well, there used to be full service gas stations when I was growing up. And one thing they always did, they popped your hood and they checked your oil. Didn't mean you needed oil. It means you checked in. You got to sometimes check in on this motor up here. It doesn't need it needs fixing, but you know what? Some preventative maintenance can be had through self-awareness, and some preventative maintenance can be had with some clarity. And some preventative maintenance right here in your head can happen through some journaling and reflecting, sketching out how you're feeling. The person that says that I'm stressed out, sketch it out, put it on paper. When we're journaling, we are reflecting. And I want you to think about it like this. Journaling is a mirror. Except the one inside, we never see the kaleidoscope of color because we're really not writing about the right things. We're not asking the questions. We're not using prompts to find these little niches and little bits of happiness that can come out of journaling, find out what our intentions are with ourselves. We battle and batter ourselves constantly. It's always about us when there's things wrong. You need to make it all about you when things are going right. So I invite you not just to work on your appearance in a mirror. I invite you to sketch out your mind and be an artist and look at what's inside your mind. That's what I invite you to do. Give it a try. It's free. And find your ambition and the warmth of your own kindness into your heart. That was a little note I wrote from last week. I want you to smile at yourself and tear away the weight of your unexpressed hidden fears. That's right. We all have them. We have unexpressed hidden fears and self-doubt. And a lot of this has to do with your mindset. I invite you to try it. I dare you. So not just to find out who you are, but I want you to find out who you can become. That's what this course is about. Not just who you are, but what your potential is. What you are to become. You have so much life to live, and we don't want to waste it on bad thoughts, a scrolling mind, going to bed, thinking about where to start. Where you start is when you wake up, you think of one thing you're grateful for. And one thing you look forward to. When you go out through the door, stay mindful. And listen to the different noise. Once your head quiet down, then you're going to notice birds live outside your window. raindrops on your roof. There's other noises of nature to listen to. Don't let humankind wreck it. Don't let other people wreck it. Take away your peace and tranquility, because they'll fucking work their asses off doing that with their cockadoodle bullshit. But not just you will recognize this, but other people will recognize it too when you have the change, when things are changing. And it's all sparked by reflection. It's all sparked by journaling. It's all sparked by feeding yourself good thought, a healthy mental diet. And a healthy mental diet isn't just a recipe full of stress and bad thoughts and poor me, because we're get to be alive. So there is no poor anybody. And it's up to us to stand straight and center and align ourselves and realize that life's a gift. It can go away at any time, and I don't want mine ending being unhappy. So you are your own masterpiece, and I can't wait for you to discover yourself. And I urge you to follow us, watch our link tree. We don't ask for any type of support. This is something that we do, and it's something that helps me. And, you know, I'm doing everything now in my life that I was always afraid to do. Believe me, I would never be on here. I'd be afraid of critics or what people would say. And I would be afraid of what the hell I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a motivational speaker, and I'm not a life coach. What I am is just somebody that's going to help you understand that there's a little critic in your head who's full of shit. And he doesn't need to be there anymore. And you need to take control of your life, and you need to live authentically. You need to be the person you are to become, and with purpose, with vision, and with clarity. And only you at this point can help yourself. When you get recognizing in your life that a lot of things you have control over, 100%, you have control over the way you perceive things, the lens that you carry. What triggers you isn't what triggers you. What triggers you is something in somebody that you don't understand about yourself. Unforeseen fears and things that you're neglecting in your own mind. Self-reflect. Accept God's gift of your life, because we're not a casual, meaningless part of evolution. We're created by love. Start feeling some of that love inside. Have a good perspective of other people's perspectives. Be kind. Don't listen to divisive rhetoric on the news or fake news, or worry about world problems. Worry about your home. Worry about your environment. Worry about all the blue-collared people that are doing things every day. Not the guy that designed it, but the guys that are building it. And that's what this show's about. It's about blue collar. It's about us unrecognized people. We don't get awards. We don't get Emmys. But you know what we do? We show up anyway. We're not the best paid people. We're not the celebrated people, but we show up. True grit. That's what we do. And all you people out there that are waking up today to make yourself better, you know what? You already are. You already are better. And I want you to have a strong mindset. And when you go into a building and in awe of, wow, who designed this? Remember, it's more of who the fuck built it. That's who gets the recognition. So when your plumbing's working and your electricity's on and an ambulance shows up when you need one and your society's functional, that's all blue collar people. These are all people that have challenges in their life, that just want a better life for themselves, but for their children to do better. You know, if you want some education, study who you are, study who you can become, and know that no matter what you do or what your job is, be proud of it. Be proud of the life that you live. Be proud and embrace who you are, because nobody can take that from you. And you can't be anybody else, because everyone else is taken. And I want you to go forward knowing that today. I want you to go forward knowing that you're unique because you're here. You're unique because you're you, but we all have the same problems. So it's not fitting in the crowd. It's not driving the best car or the clothes. It's what you're telling yourself because of things. It's what you're telling yourself because you think you lack something. It's what you tell yourself because you didn't get invited. Don't miss out on life. Don't let fears allow you to miss out on life. Have understanding. Understand your own perspective. Have clarity in your life. Reflect. Be aware. Stay strong. And don't let anybody beat you down, especially the bully in your head, especially that critic in your head that tells you can't do it. He's full of shit because you have, and you've already been doing it. But in the meantime, we're tolerating things that we have control over. And I want you to take control. I want you to write down what is happening in my life right now that I have more power over. The way I think about this, the job, the second job I'm doing, I'm avoiding my family. Stay in touch with what aligns to you. If what matters to you is time with your family, then take the time to be with them. If you have someone in your life you really love, then show them that you love them. If you have a job that you don't like, then get one you do like. It's all on you. It's all on you. And I want to thank you for listening. And I want you to follow us. And here at next week's our final week of our 12-week journey. And guess what? I'm not going anywhere because I'm going to have another journey that I'd like you to go on with me. But if anybody that has watched me, and some of you know that who you are, what do you want me to do a series on? What is it that you would like me to dive into more about life? Should we do another intentional one? I have some good ideas on boundaries and good living. But you know where good living starts? It starts right here. It starts with what you're going to put in your mind and who you think you are. And let me tell you, I'm going to give you a shout out right now. Who I think you are is a person with lots of potential. And a lot of us don't know who we are or what is going to happen. But let's have control of it. Let's stay mindful of it. Participate in your life. Participate in self-awareness. Participate in being mindful. Participate in holding yourself accountable for your life and where you are. Participate in it. If you're stressed out, participate in the resolution, not the problem. If you're having financial problems, participate in setting a budget. If you're worried about your kids, participate in being in their life. If you're worried about yourself, participate in writing a plan and self-reflecting. Because once you participate, you're now living off of autopilot. You're living intentionally, on purpose. When you're participating, you're showing up. Take roll call every day. Am I here? Yes, I am. Am I writing? Yes, I am. Do I believe in myself? Yes, I am. Those are affirmations. They help with how you feel about yourself and self-esteem. They're not a cliche. They work. It's a mindset. Believing in yourself and seeing the good in you, seeing the good in other people. Think of somebody you don't like. What do you like about them? Don't concentrate on the negative. They're like weeds in your garden. Your garden's never going to grow if you have weeds. You got to let go of self-doubt. You got to let go of judgment. You have to forgive. You can't go through life with making other people a burden. Because when you feel that other people are a burden and they're triggers, guess what? You're not dealing with what your own burden really is. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. Life's not about a motivational speech. It's not about reading a motivational book. Life's about participating in your own life, your thoughts, your feelings, and what's feeding it. Until next week, on the 12th week, everybody, I love you all. I'm glad you're here. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a little guy who's nudging you to go forward. Because if I did it, you can. And believe me, that's a strong statement. If I did it, you can. Tap yourself with a little bit of love. Next week, we're going to have integration and commitment and becoming an intentional person. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Because guess what? I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be ready for you. If you're watching us for the first time and you like it, you can hit the link tree and you can follow us on YouTube. It's called The Mental Craftsman. It's a blue collar work life program for all of us that work out in the world where we don't get recognized. But guess what? We can recognize ourselves, can't we? Give yourself credit today. Have a good day, everybody. I love you and happy Easter.